Hello everyone! I love when I'm so on time for Mel's Musings that the church bells are literally ringing for noon in the background. Hear that? So hopefully a few of you join in. It is Tuesday at noon and I'm excited to be here with you guys. That's a little better. I'm not as close. We just came from our third American Dream TV shoot. Definitely check out our Instagram stories because we had a blast. We went to Organifi, honestly tried some green juice, had a lot of fun. They have a very cool office space, so we got some DDR action in. It was really a good time. Yaya made it right on time. Hey Yaya Bean. Aren't those church bells lovely? I kind of like them. I feel like it's a nice, relaxing reminder of what time it is during the day. So today's topic is no pressure. I've got like a little piece of hair right here. Hold on. Hey Michelle, thanks for joining. Hi George. Lots of people coming on in here. That's right. Give me some love. Thank you guys. So we're talking today about no pressure, no diamonds. So for those of you that don't know, the natural process of diamond creation is they are created under like extreme amounts of pressure in nature. I don't know exactly the scientific science as to what happens, but I do know that intense amounts of pressure are needed to create diamonds. And it had me thinking this past week, especially because some of you may know on my Facebook, like one of my very good friends is currently going through a very difficult health journey. And I myself have been through very difficult health journeys and really difficult business journeys, personal journeys. Really, the amount or like the times where we have been under extreme amounts of pressure, it has produced so much positivity in my life. It has produced the resulting diamond that I am. But it really started to hit home to me, and I'm going to use a few examples from my own life of how being really under pressure has produced diamond-like results in our life. And a lot of times we have this ridiculous fear of not doing something because we're afraid of how it might end up. We're afraid of what, might happen should we quit our job or move across the country or do that dramatic thing that we've been waiting to take the leap on. There's so many fears that come up. But realistically, unless we're willing to put ourselves under that pressure, we're not going to grow and we're not going to be able to achieve the diamond-like status that we are all 100% worthy of. So I feel like one of the biggest transformational moments for us was when we quit our jobs, our dream jobs, the jobs that were very secure, where we were making tons of money for being in Buffalo, where I owned my house and had almost paid off my house, and we had 2 fully paid off cars, and we had amazing health insurance, and all of the things. Yes, there were a lot of what if questions. There were a lot of what if opportunities of things that could have gone wrong. Things did go wrong. I'm not going to lie to you and say that the move out here was all peachy keen. It was not. There were issues that we ran into. There were places that we stayed along the way where we were like, ooh, maybe we shouldn't have stayed in this location with everything we own in the car. When we arrived, we didn't have jobs set up, so that in itself was a huge undertaking. There are always going to be what ifs. And when we made the decision to quit our really amazing jobs, those make your parents proud jobs in Buffalo, New York, and decided to make the transition and take the leap to move across the country, it was an extreme amount of pressure. I have never been so anxious about anything in my life. In fact, when our 7-week road trip was completed and John and I were on our way literally driving into San Diego, I lost my shit. Like, I completely lost it. John can totally validate this story. He's all excited, right? There's this giant sign. It's like, welcome to California. And as he's like getting more and more excited, he's like, ooh, we're almost there. I'm like literally losing my shit in the seat next to him. And like I have some gut issues, so like I thought I was gonna lose my shit for real. I was like, oh my God. And I started to have a panic attack. I was like, John, we gotta keep driving. We just gotta keep driving. And he was like, what? And we're like approaching San Diego and he's like, yeah, San Diego, here's the sign for San Diego. And like as it approached and became more and more real, the amount of pressure that I was feeling was so extreme that I literally started to shake and I was like, just keep driving, we can't stop. And he was like, okay, you're insane. We've literally been taking a 7-week road trip to get here in the first place. Like, the whole reason that we did this road trip was to arrive in San Diego. Like, what are you even talking about, crazy lady? And I was so anxious and stressed out about the what ifs and the unknowns and all of the possibilities that were running through my head. Literally, I was weeping to John in the passenger seat saying, well, what if there's cockroaches? What if I pull up the rug and there's bugs? What if there's bed bugs in the temporary place we've gotten? I've never signed a lease without seeing someplace. And he was like, Jesus Christ, I'm coming to San Diego with a crazy lady. No, he was like, babe, it's gonna be okay, because John's a sweetheart. But realistically, he should have been like, oh my goodness, I'm arriving to San Diego with a crazy lady. Because I started to feel all of this overwhelming pressure. And had I let it get to me, I would have never experienced what was in store for me here in San Diego. As simple as that. Yes, there were stressful moments. It was crazy living here and having to pay an astronomical amount of rent and to see our savings really quickly dwindling as we looked for jobs. Of course, that was scary. When I was looking for a job, another huge under pressure opportunity arose because I thought I had actually received 2 or 3 job offers, but they weren't like really speaking to my soul. I was like, do I want to work at another bank? Do I want to work at this startup in Rancho Santa Fe? That was a pretty cool opportunity, but there were some red flags there. And I found what I thought was my dream job at a design company downtown. I wanted that job so bad that I was under extreme amounts of pressure. As being hired as the hiring manager at that job, I realize now that the fact that I got hired there within a 2-week period is like a miracle in itself. It was a diamond moment for me because I manned that hiring process, and I know for a fact that that hiring process takes 2 to 3 months. But you know what? Under extreme pressure, I was able to produce a diamond. I was relentless in wanting that job. I literally interviewed with not only the owner, the general manager, but also the CEO within 4 days' time. I was like insistent on attending a team lunch because I wanted to meet the team. I was obviously interviewing them as much as they were interviewing me, and I was like committed AF as to getting that job. It was extremely high pressure. I had 2 other job offers on the table that I had to let know by a certain date, and I didn't want either of those jobs. I wanted this one. So I had to work under extreme pressure to achieve the job offer that I wanted. Another great opportunity is when I got really sick. That dream job that I mentioned ended up not being so dreamy. Me and the CEO butt heads a lot at that position, and I was under extreme amounts of pressure in that position, producing, again, the diamond that I am. But what ended up happening through the incredible stressful environment was I had been experiencing a lot of health symptoms, and they really flared up during that time. So much so that when I got let go from that position, which was literally the first time in my entire life that I had been fired, so huge blow to my ego on that one. Literally had never been fired, never even had a disagreement with the boss. I had always been like the star employee, the star student, and to have been fired, I was like, oh my God, like what is even happening? John was working a job that was literally a quarter of what he had been used to making in Buffalo. We were quite literally living in a less than 500 square foot studio that was costing us almost $1,600 a month, and he was making $12 an hour. And I was sick as a dog. I literally couldn't get up. I spent almost 6 months completely on bed rest. That, my friends, was a really high pressure time for us. And I will tell you, it produced some of the greatest willpower and grit that we've ever had to face. I was literally from bed selling things that we owned. I was learning how to do real estate from my bed. John was doing everything he could to make extra money on the side. I was literally, even though I was like in bed really sick, I was doing very random things around the apartment building for people. I was doing what I could. We were both under extreme pressure, and we were really committed to not moving back to New York. We were really committed to doing whatever it took to stay in San Diego and to make that shit happen. And we did. And again, when we started this business, everyone we asked around our wedding We were like, should John quit his job too? I was already unemployed. I was in bed most of the time, transitioning into health, producing diamond-like results. But it was a really rough road. And every single person, literally every single person that we asked in our life, should John quit his job too? Because we're the type of people who, if we want to take the island, we burn the fucking ships, right? So we were very committed to not giving ourselves any other option but to make this real estate company work. And every single person that we asked, should John quit his job too? It was are you guys insane? No. And usually it was are you insane? Fuck no. What planet are you guys on? How are you going to afford your rent? Where are the leads going to come from? How are you going to do business? How are you going to make money together? So, you know what we did? We didn't listen to anyone. In true form, John quit his job, about 2 weeks before the wedding, unbeknownst to no one. We didn't tell anyone at the wedding. I don't think anyone knew that we were both unemployed at our wedding because we didn't really, the negative feedback and the, what are you guys doing? This seems crazy was not it was not a positive aspect or something that was really fulfilling to us as we were really committed to achieving this diamond status, right? We decided to put ourselves under an extreme amount of pressure by both being unemployed, committed to starting and having this real estate company succeed. We basically needed to make money to put food on the table. It was what it was. So at our wedding, we had an amazing, beautiful celebration. We had all of our friends and family come in from out of town. It was fabulous. And immediately after the wedding, we took all of our wedding funds. And those are the, funds that people usually make or usually use to buy things for their house or really set themselves up for success as a newlywed couple. We were like, all right, screw it. We're going to start this business and we're going to just go for it. And we literally put everything into Steele San Diego Homes. And we worked, both of us, 7 days a week for 16 to 18 hours a day, relentlessly, literally through our meals. We tried everything. We door knocked, we did open houses, we time blocked, we leveled ourselves up like nobody's business. We continued to put ourselves under such extreme pressure that we literally got to the sorry, that person doesn't know I'm doing a musing. We literally put ourselves under such extreme pressure that we gave ourselves literally no other option to succeed. And I will promise you guys, if you make those commitments to yourself, it will get messy. John and I experienced a break-in at one of the rental properties that we own, roughly 4 months into that process. We'd only closed one deal. It was a real small one. We'd honestly gotten screwed out of most of our commission because we didn't have a lot of leverage. It was one of our very first deals. And we experienced a break-in on a rental property. And I was like, okay, well, that's fine. We've got insurance. Well, insurance, being the treat that it often is, did not cover the break-in. So we literally, 4 months into our business with barely any money in our bank account, barely being able to put food on the table and being able to eat dinner. And I will be honest with you, this is a time period where John and I often sat at the table eating dinner at 11 o'clock at night, in extreme exhaustion, holding each other's hands, weeping over our dinner table, asking us, is this what we really want? Do we want this enough that this is worth it? And it always was. The answer was always yes. We want this so bad. We get to create this for ourselves. This is the vision we've always had. These are the things that we want. This is the pathway we get to take to make it. We're not going to give up. So we experienced this break-in. We have $10,000 of unexpected expenses come up when our bank account is quite literally at this. And what ended up happening was we had a tenant move out. We had to replace all the carpets. The tenant had left it in really bad shape. And 2 days before the new renter moved in, we experienced this break-in, and the burglar stole the hot water heater, the furnace, and the air conditioning unit, cut all of the wires, and didn't turn off any of the utilities. So we experienced a giant flood in our attic. The ceiling caved in on the brand new carpet. So I'm not gonna lie to you guys, I had a momentary meltdown. I was like, okay, I'm gonna give myself time to have a meltdown. We were literally at the Firestone where our brakes had just gone out on our car, and John was swiping the credit card for $600 we didn't have, and I was on the phone with Tennessee, where our property was, And I just started crying at the Firestone because I felt like the extreme amount of pressure was just too much. Did we make it through? 100%. We started doing odd jobs. We started selling everything that we had left that we still owned. And I got to have a really great conversation with the people in our life about who could potentially support us in borrowing some money because we needed to pay that $10,000 and we didn't have it. But under the extreme pressure, we made it work. We got the $10,000 that we needed to repair those things. We dealt with the fact that insurance did not cover it. It was really a biznotch, I will not lie. Sometimes insurance and I really have a thorn. It's like really not a great relationship that I have with insurance, but it produced diamond-like results. We did not take no for an answer. It was like, wow, well, we get to shift into something else because like this $10,000 is really unexpected, but we're not going to let it stop us. We could have so easily in that moment immediately gone and gotten paying jobs and started paying down the debt that we had incurred, but we were like, no, we're gonna make this happen. We put in so much time, so much effort. This is going to work. Steele San Diego Homes is gonna be a thing. We closed 3 deals in the first 10 months of our business, and we worked almost 18 hours a day, 7 days a week, 2 of us, nonstop. And it doesn't usually take people that long, but I'm a firm believer that the reason it took us that long was not only to prepare us for our diamond-like status, because extreme pressure makes extreme diamonds, but it prepared us for the incredible gratitude that we have on a daily basis today when things do work. And through that experience, through the relentless drive, we continued it. We were like, this is insane, but we are going to make it work. And even though we'd only closed 3 deals in the first 10 months of our business, the next 7 months after that time period, we closed 17 deals. It produced diamond-like results. Just this past year, our remodel was a massive undertaking. People kind of make comments to us all the time like, oh yeah, but you had $200,000 cash to do this project. No, we didn't. John and I took this project on, our home remodel, when we had next to nothing in our bank account. In fact, we were negative if you account for the debt that our business was in at the time of taking on this project. But the reason that we took on this project was because we knew that the end result would be that our assistant could live, in one of the units and that we could Airbnb. The goal was big enough and the pressure was great enough that it was worth working really hard towards to accomplish the goal. So we set out. And I will be completely honest with you. If you guys want to get creative with real estate, we are your peeps because we took out a hard money loan for most of the construction, and we currently have a payback plan that's paid back monthly. I just canceled, it was our goal this month to pay off and cancel 3 of our 0 APR cards. Hallelujah. We just accomplished it. I just paid off 3 and made those cancellation calls, and it felt so ridiculously epic. But we literally had at one time 14 credit cards, most of them 0 APR because we could not afford to be making the payments as we were doing this project. We needed to complete the project in order to start renting the unit to then make money to pay for the credit cards. So 14 credit cards, an enormous amount of sacrifice, really high pressure. Our biggest deal earlier this year fell out on the same day that I received a $65,000 contracting bill. It was a over $100,000 swing day for us in the negativo direction. I had been counting on, roughly $45,000 coming from a really large transaction that we had been working extremely hard for a very, very, very long time. That deal fell out on the same exact day that I got a $65,000 contractor bill. It was an amazingly awesome day. You know why? We got to solve and figure out where $110,000 was coming from within a very short amount of time. It was an $100,000 swing day. And you know what's been really amazing through all of these journeys? Every single leap that we choose to take, it's always a choice. Every single situation that we've put ourselves in has been a conscious choice. I could very easily go back to work. I have a lot of brilliance in this brain. I could be hired anywhere I wanted to at this point, I feel like. And so could John. We bring a lot of value. However, I don't want that for myself, so it's not an option. We thrive at this point under extreme pressure. when we are under extreme, ridiculous pressure, that even 6 years ago, sitting in my cube at Citibank, if I had known the amount of pressure that I would sometimes be in now in my life, I probably would have just shit my pants then and there at my desk. Like, I'm not even joking, you guys. When you take that first leap of faith and you trust and you are relentless in pursuit of your goal and you allow yourself to feel the pressure, but to not let it crumble you, to let it drive you, to let it build that grit, I promise you it will be worth it. And then the next move that you take is going to be bigger. And it may be just as scary or maybe even scarier because it's that much bigger of a goal. But I promise you, the amount of pressure that you put yourself under, you will figure out a way to make it work. There has never been a situation, yes, we've had to ask people for money, 100%. Like, we don't do this magically. Yes, there have been times where I have literally sold every single thing in our apartment that we are not using at the time. Like, literally. It is not underneath me. There have been times of our business where I have dog walked and babysat and done every single thing that I possibly can to make payroll and to pay the bills because I am committed as fuck to making this happen. And it's not my team's responsibility to not make payroll. It's my responsibility to make payroll. They're counting on me for their paycheck, so I get to make it happen. Those amounts of extreme pressure, like when we hired our first employee, a $40-something thousand a year employee when we were making next to zero a year. You think those moves are easy? Do you think, those things are not shit your pants status? Because they're not. But under that extreme pressure, you will produce beautiful diamond-like results. So if you've been on the fence about something in your life that feels really thrilling, but at the same time really scary, maybe it's quitting your job, maybe it's moving to a new city, maybe it's breaking up with a significant other that you've been with for 50 years and feel totally unfulfilled by. I don't know what it looks like for you in particular, but I just know that consistently, the highest pressure for us has produced the best results. And not always the way that we think it will. I promise you, when we got that break-in for $10,000, when we had trouble feeding ourselves and we're literally holding each other's hands, weeping over our dinner on a next to daily basis, just asking ourselves, is this actually worth it? I promise you, it's not going to feel easy and it's not going to feel good in that moment. But when you have a vision of the things that you want and what you get to achieve and knowing that you are deserving of achieving those goals, having the undoubted faith in yourself that you get to rock it and that everything is available to you and that every resource is here in this world and available to us if we ask for it, create it for ourselves, and make it happen, I promise you, you will continue to create yourself in the most perfect diamond-like status that you can envision. I love you guys. I hope this message resonated, and thank you so much for tuning in. So many of you were here. Demetria, Wanda, Andy, hey John, cousin John, Jed. I love you guys. Thank you so much for joining. And yeah, Therese said that was me wanting to move back to New York in January, and she wouldn't have met Ryan, the boyfriend that she's been with for 6 months. That's amazing. Yes, in January of this year, Therese had moved in November, and I literally talked her off the ledge. I was like, you've given yourself no time, girl. The pressure is so great because it's producing diamond-like status. Keep it through. And honestly, to have seen Therese's growth in the last 6 months while working with our team and seeing her in this beautiful relationship and in her own space and creating magic, it has produced diamond-like results. She put herself under extreme pressure and has produced diamond-like results. And I know it's just the beginning for her. And it's just the beginning for all of you too. I love you guys. Thank you for watching. Talk to you soon. See you next Tuesday at noon. Bye, Yaya.